welcome to our channel Life in Northern Virginia, where I share with you all the best places to play, eat, sleep, live, everything you could ever want to know about Northern Virginia. In this video, we will be discussing what to expect when you are expecting to buy a house in Northern Virginia. Definitely not a baby. My husband would be pretty shocked about that. You will definitely want to stay until the end because I'm going to share with you the number one thing you should consider when you're buying a house in Northern Virginia. Let's get to it. If this is your first time to our channel, welcome. I'm Kat Massetti. I'm the realtor and founder of the Haven Group right here in Northern Virginia. I have helped a lot of families move to the area, so if you're considering the same, please go ahead, call me, text me, email me, smoke signals, however you want to get a hold of me, and I will make sure I will get right back to you, and we will make these move as smooth and as stress-free as possible for you. Let's get right into our video today. One of the things that you want to consider if you are a buyer in Northern Virginia is that the offer that you present to the seller for consideration is going to include all the terms and outline all the contingencies within that offer. So you're going to present it to the seller, and then the seller is going to, if it's a competitive situation, which it has been in 2021, the seller is then going to take a look at all of the offers presented and all of the terms and make the decision on who the best buyer is going to be that they want to move forward with. So there's seldom, if it's a multiple offer situation, where the seller is going to go back and renegotiate with every buyer. So the terms that you put forward in your offer are going to need to be the best terms that you're going to be submitting for consideration, because there's seldom times where, if it's a multiple offer situation, that the seller is going to go back and ask you to change the terms. So when you're preparing the offer for consideration with the seller, you want to make sure that all of the terms that you put forward are ones that you're going to commit to. The examples are sales price, the settlement date, the terms as far as home inspections, as well as an appraisal contingency. So all of those terms are set forward in the offer first, and then once the seller decides to move forward with you, there's usually some tweaking that happens, but once you ratify that contract, then it's set pretty much in stone, and you can't really change anything unless you have the written approval between buyer and seller. So just make sure that with the offers that you're presenting, that those are the terms that you want to commit to. In Northern Virginia, when you put forward an offer, you also put forward in the terms of the contract what's called an earnest money deposit. So an earnest money deposit is held in escrow, which is kind of like a savings account, at the title company while you're under contract. It's customary in Northern Virginia to be anywhere between 1% to 2% of the sales price. So for example, if you have a $400,000 sales price, your earnest money deposit generally is anywhere between $4,000 and $8,000 to be presented with the offer. If your offer is accepted, yay, and then you are expected to deliver the $4,000 to $8,000 to the title company, usually within 3 to 5 days. And then the title company is going to hold on to that, and when you go to settlement, the title company is going to credit that $4,000 to $8,000 towards your purchase. So they will credit it to your down payment and your closing costs on the day that you settle. The earnest money deposit is kind of the skin in the game for the buyer. It is what the buyer puts forward, you would put forward, that shows that you are in earnest going to go into contract and complete the sale. Where you can lose your earnest money deposit, or where it's at risk, is if you back out of the contract without contingency in place. So that's why it's important, whatever offer terms that you're submitting, that you make sure that you're able to commit to those, because if you go under contract and then you decide that you want to back out of the contract, then it could be hard to get your earnest money deposit back, and the seller may then be able to take that earnest money deposit as their own. If you back out of the contract contract without a contingency in place. So just make sure that when you are going forward and putting in an offer that you actually mean it and that you want to fulfill the contract. That way you don't put your earnest. In Northern Virginia, when you're purchasing your new home, the buyer and the seller may actually settle at two different title companies. So the buyer side may have their own settlement company and the seller side may have their own settlement company. So there may be actually what's called a split settlement where you may never actually meet the other side. So I have some buyers that are like, oh, well, when are we going to talk to the seller and, learn everything about the house and meet at the closing table and sign together? Well, that doesn't happen. In general, the buyer and the seller are going to sign on two separate places as well as separate times. So just expect that as a buyer, you may never meet. In Northern Virginia, if things are not hyper competitive like it has been in 2021, then you can expect to get a couple inspections done if you wish. The number one is the general inspection. So that's an inspection where the home inspector comes and takes a look at all of the details of the house. They are, like I said, a general inspection. So think of it as a general primary doctor who's just going to be taking, a look at you. And then if there's anything that's out of the ordinary, they may refer you to a specialist. So think about the general home inspector as more so of a primary care physician who's going to take a look at all the systems. But they will red flag things that they think may warrant more of a specific inspection. For example, the roof, they may suggest that a roofer come, plumbing, electrical, etc. So it's good to have a general overview of the home, but then expect that maybe you would have to get a more specific inspection done after the fact. Also in Northern Virginia, it's very common to have what's called radon gas. And during an inspection period, what you can do is have a radon inspection done as well. That's where the home inspector is going to put a little canister in the basement and collect the gas for about 2 days. And then they're going to measure the gas and see what the radon level is. EPA recommends that if the levels are above a 4 PCI per liter, that a radon mitigation system be put into the home. Radon is an invisible gas, it's odorless, and it's detected by this test. If the radon levels are high, no need to fret. It's a pretty easy remediation. You just have to call the radon remediation company to come in, and they will put in a mitigation system for about $800 to $1,000 on average to control the radon gas. An additional inspection that can be done during the contract process is termites. Termites are very common in Northern Virginia. It's very wooded here, so it's not unusual to find termites in the homes here. It's a very inexpensive, relatively inexpensive inspection. And if live termites are found, so evidence of live termites are found, as well as the visible termite damage, then the seller is responsible for the treatment of the live termites and as well as any evidence of the physical damage that's visible. So you're not talking about breaking down walls, you're not talking about if there was evidence of past termites, which is pretty common. You're just talking about the live termites. The seller is then responsible to fix those items. So the most important thing and final thing that I think a buyer should be aware of when they're buying a home in Northern Virginia is that Virginia is a buyer beware state. That means that the buyer in Virginia needs to do their due diligence and discover the defects in the home themselves before they sign on the dotted line and purchase there's going to be a bunch of disclosures that you're going to sign. The contract's like a third contract and then like 2/3 disclosures of all the things that may be unknown to you. Just make sure that while you're going through the process, you hire a good real estate agent, kind of like this one, but somebody who's going to have your interests in mind. And so I really hope that you enjoy learning a little bit more about what to expect when you are going to be buying a home in Northern Virginia. There's always a lot of questions I'm sure that you have throughout the process. So if you are considering making that move to Northern Virginia, go ahead, give me a call. My information's below. And I look forward to seeing you all next week and continue living your best life in Northern Virginia.